I'm going to tell you why helping straight away actually slows your child's learning down. So stick with me and let's dive right into this. So helping immediately feels helpful. Now, when you're helping your child at home and you jump in quickly, you think that that feels helpful. Of course you do. As a teacher, as a tutor, I think it feels helpful as well. And so that's a really, really common thing to feel. However, it creates more dependence. And so we have to flip the script on this as well. And it's a hard one to do. This is one of the harder ones to do because you just want to help. They're your children at the end of the day, and you want to dive in and help them. You don't want to see them struggle. You want to guide them along the right path to get to the answer, whatever it might be. But yes, it creates more dependency. So, fast help, we often think when we dive in fast, it's going to give them more confidence because we think it's going to lessen that struggle time. And so when we dive in and we help them along and guide them along to the answer, that's going to give them more confidence because they're not going to have that window of time where they feel like they're struggling and feel like maybe they're dumb and feel like they can't get it and all this sort of thing. However, this is wrong. This is wrong. This actually can be detrimental to them and detrimental to their confidence and their future learning through maths. And so they never actually struggle long enough to think. There's never that window of time where they're struggling and they have to almost get out of that. They have to get that thinking process going where they can get out of that struggle, or at least attempt to. And so this is really important. So here's an example for you. So they stop on a question. So they're doing a homework question at home, or they're doing one of my resources questions, and they stop on a question for 5 seconds. And then you jump in. And when you jump in, you ask things or you say things like, remember the rule, remember what I showed you, or remember the steps that you need to take. Carry the one. So you're guiding them, you're giving them almost the tips on what to do. So you're almost telling them what to do as like a reminder kind of thing. Try it like this. Or even you're suggesting to them to try it in a different way, or try it in the way that you knew how, or whatever it might be. And the worksheet gets finished by doing this, but there's no actual learning time. And if it, in any way, it's probably actually been more detrimental to them. And so we have to get out of this pattern of things. We have to get out of this pattern of diving in too early. And obviously this channel, this stuff is for you as parents to help best at home. But this will be the case for teachers as well. We have to get away from diving in too quickly. And then next time, they look for help immediately. So it becomes this pattern. When they get stuck for a few seconds and they look for help. Because they're always used to being rescued. And that's whether it's rescued by you or rescued in the classroom or whatever it might be. But they're used to being helped, and they're almost used to that borrowed thinking, which I mentioned in a previous video. And so here, this is what matters. So pausing matters. Pausing, so when they're getting stuck, pausing the time between them being stuck and you jumping in or guiding them, whatever it might be, that time, it matters, really matters. Confusion matters. It's okay for them to be confused because that's where learning can happen. And trying matters, we know that. But lots of children need to learn to try when they are stuck and try to get themselves out and try to think of patterns and try to think of strategies to get them out of there. So don't rescue quickly. I've got a quick story for you. So a student comes to tutoring and we were doing a certain math skill and they were not sure and they were getting stuck, and a good chunk of window went past, probably 2 minutes, and they were stuck and they were glancing at me, almost looking to be rescued, and I just didn't say anything. I let time go by, and then I started to see them use a different strategy or a different like learn strategy they knew about to get the answer to the one they were working on. And now that wouldn't have happened if I dived in quick and just guided them down the path that they were on, or guide them to the answer. But because I waited, because I didn't rescue them, because I gave them that window of time to struggle, and you could see the thought going around, they got to the answer. And when I told them how awesome that was and told them that the answer was correct, you could see it. Amazing. So confident. And so it's really important. I'm not saying it has to be 2 minutes of time. You know your child better than I do. But it's really important that that window of time is sufficient enough that they get that chance to struggle and try and get out of it. And the goal here, the goal of this video, the goal of this channel, but another additional goal, is raising children who can think through being stuck. So being stuck is okay, that's how you learn. You're of course you're going to be stuck. But raising your child to work through that is what you want when we talk about learning in maths, which is what this is all about. And so here's the steps that you follow to make sure that you give them that chance. So number one, wait longer. So wait a longer period of time. Don't jump in after 5 seconds. Now when you do jump in, if they still can't manage it after a window of time and they have attempted a couple things and they're still stuck, then you want to ask these 2 things. So what do you already know? So that kind of question doesn't guide them to the answer, not directly, but it gets them to think, what do they already know? What do they already know how to do? Do they know step 1? Do they know the first part? But they're not sure what to do next. Do they know what this part of it means, but they don't know what that part means? What could you try first? So if they're stuck on a question, what could they try first? Can they break that question down in any way? It depends on the question, it depends on the math, of course it does. But it's a question that again gets them thinking, gets them in the thought patterns. And that's what you want them to do. And so even 15 to 20 seconds of time, of a time of thinking, changes how children engage in learning. So that's not a big difference, but it is a big difference. So not jumping in 5 seconds, here's probably your minimum. So 15 to 20 seconds you leave them where they get a chance to struggle through. Can they get out of it? Can they think of some things? If they still can't, then you ask them a couple of key questions. If you can extend this out, great. Like I said in my example, it's probably 2 minutes, if not more. But you know your child best, you know when that time might be suitable to jump in, but think to yourself, it does need to be longer than what you probably think, because we often think this, we think that it's helpful to jump in, but we've got to change our thought around that for their sake. And so my resources that I provide for you over on my Patreon channel are designed in a way to make this easy for you. So on my first page that I give you, it has little tips, little things to say, little mistakes that might be made, and how to help them along the journey. And the questions I give you are short and sharp and progress nicely. So check it out, links in my description. But subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.